Hello and welcome to Great British Mickey Waffle Live. It is June, the sun is shining, and tonight we are talking about some of the most reviewed Disney dining places that you can visit in Walt Disney World. So whether you think that Chef Mickey's is marvellous or Cinderella's Royal Table is really not worth the money, tonight we're going to have a chat about it and find out where has disappointed us and where we would give a second try to. So welcome to the show. Grab a drink, grab a snack, because we're talking about food, and we will see you in a moment.
Now my wheels in motion and my windows open with the wind blowing in my hair. I'm driving down the highway, gonna do this my way. I can feel it in the air. Here I go.
Hello, and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're here with us in the chat or whether you're catching up on Friday or beyond on the podcast. It is awesome to be here. It's Wednesday, which means that we are over the most of the week and heading downhill towards the weekend. So I'm Claire, and with me this evening, we have Ben and Becca. You guys okay?
Hi. Yeah, very good. Enjoying the sunshine. Very warm weather today, and I hear it's going to get warmer before the weekend.
It's going to be Florida temperatures before the weekend here, which is amazing.
Okay.
Getting us ready because John is here as well, and we are all just broaching that window of when we can start to book stuff. So, John, you okay?
Yeah. I am. No, not yet. I'm like I said, a bit like last year. We never planned anything. We just went ad hoc, and actually it really makes it such a really refreshing way of going about it.
I couldn't do that.
No, we have a spreadsheet.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I like to have flexibility.
It's a flexible spreadsheet, but we have a spreadsheet.
It's not laminated. Let's put it that way. There'll be plenty of change. No, there'll be plenty of changes through the trip as well, and it's one of those things. It's different because there's so many things you have to book for, and for things like Epic Universe, you choose a day, and for that side of it, there are certain things that, but then everything else fits around it.
So you have to choose a day for Epic because you're an annual pass holder, yeah.
But we booked a single day ticket.
But if you've got an undated ticket, you don't need to book a day, do you?
No, you just choose one of your 14 days.
You're all right, Claire. You can just go with.
I was having a bit of a moment. I was like, I really messed up here. It's fun.
Yeah,
cool. It's really funny because we've gone from we're not doing Epic to let's go to Epic for a day, and now the current discussion is why don't we just do 3 days at Universal?
John,
that's what happened to us. That's why we're going back next January for a week at Epic.
Yeah,
and Universal is just one of those you know you're not going to get enough done in the day. So
yeah, exactly.
Go and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
So tonight, as I mentioned in the intro, we are talking about, well, the way it kind of came about is we did a few weeks ago, we did our top 10 all-time Disney restaurants. And that was great. And we talked about probably 20, maybe 25 different places.
I like it was top 10, but we had 20.
With the proviso.
We just do that.
With the proviso that some of them have expired, some of them no longer exist. They have ceased to be looking at you starring roles. And so we did have a conversation at that time whether we should do a show about places that have perhaps not lived up to the hype and maybe disappointed us, or places that we did like and have for some reason gone downhill in our opinion. So that's what tonight's show is. It's still going to be positive because there's loads of places to eat that we love. And I'm sure that we'll talk about them too, but particularly places that we're going to be covering places that may not be good value for money or worth the dining credit if you're on the dining plan, or places perhaps where we haven't had the most magical experience. So that's the plan. Do chip in the chat. In the chat, we have Jacob was here super early. Lovely to have you with us. And Heather was here early doors too. We've got Colton who says it's raining in Minnesota. I'm sorry about that. And then we've got Hannah It's just great to have everybody here. If you're new to the show and you don't know how to comment, Ben, why is it not on the screen?
What's that?
The comments.
Chat.
Oh, it's gone.
Because you haven't clicked the button.
No, there we go.
Oh, you can see the chat on the screen. It's what I was about to say. But so if you don't know how to comment, you just literally, go to comments, type in whatever you want. It's great to have you contribute to the show. If you're scared because you don't know us and you've never contributed, you've never chat, tonight's the night.
Yep.
Don't be a ninja watcher. Join in. Tell us all your thoughts. We love it when people have a view and an opinion because then you fit in with us. So before we get into food, we are going to have a quick touch on this week's news. So, news flash time. So news this week. There's some news this week, and
not as much as last week.
No, well, no, last week was quite a big week. I think one of the first things that I picked up this week, and I messaged these guys on Sunday afternoon. I was listening to the radio on Sunday, and I was listening to a show which in the UK is on every Sunday afternoon by it's compared by an amazing West End star by the name of Elaine Page, who's been in a million different West End musicals, and she's incredible. And she was interviewing the son of Richard Sherman, and he was talking about the fact that the new verse that had been written as the final thing for the Disney productions, for the new verse at the end of It's a Small World song, which is centered around peace and harmony and tolerance and, diversity, that is going to debut at Disneyland It's a Small World on July the 17th. So presumably is that a celebration?
Day, I think.
That's the opening day.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting.
The same day that the new show, the Walt Disney show, where the Walt Disney animatronic is opening on that same day as well.
Amazing.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that and hearing more about that.
I'm sure we
And
will.
if you go onto YouTube, I think I'll put a link in our Facebook community because it's already on YouTube. Because last year at D23, they did a little preview of it, and I think a few people filmed it.
Yeah,
So
amazing.
Yeah.
The other news is less about putting things in and more about taking things out.
Putting up lots of walls.
The
It's sort of wall update, isn't it? Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
The walls are up. The walls are up. Muppets have gone. They have left the building, and we have construction walls around Muppets Courtyard.
Yeah.
It's sad to see it go, I must admit.
Yeah.
And I know the one who comes out and says, "Oh, we should keep hold of everything that's." Yeah, I know things have to move on, but actually, I'd still love to see that show somewhere. And maybe give it a little bit of TLC.
I think in one form or another, I think that show will live on in one particular way.
I hope so. I hope so.
I think. Yeah. But looking at the Disney did release, because they put the walls up, they've also put new concept art on the walls. So you can now see the new updated concept art, which is slightly different. But the biggest thing for me is they're keeping a fountain.
Yeah,
that's one of the biggest things for me.
I mean, wouldn't it be nice if they kept the Miss Piggy fountain?
Well, I don't think that's going to work.
I'm not sure whether it should fit in Monstropolis. But...
Yeah, I think there's
make it work.
I think there's a whole lack of joined up thinking here as well, isn't there? Because it's actually, I think it was only just over 12 months ago they put new seats into that theatre.
I know.
And now they're going to be ripping them out. So hopefully,
no, they're not. It's going to be a theatre.
Is it?
The theatre's staying.
At least not losing all them seats then.
Yeah,
that wouldn't have been good. That wouldn't have been good value for money for the little accountant sitting in his office at Disney Corporation, who seems to make all the decisions at the moment. So,
we've invested in this, so we must keep it as a theatre because the seats are there.
Yeah, that probably that seems more like it, doesn't it?
And it feels really weird that with all this construction heading back to Hollywood studios. I remember over the sort of past decade, all we've spoken about is like all the construction that was turning Hollywood studios into, at the time, was half day part of construction to Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land. And now we're back to having more walls in.
I don't think it's going to affect capacity too much, though. That's the
No,
thing.
I
It's
don't
only
either.
Muppet Vision, Mama Melrose, and Pizza Rizzo. I'm not sure how many guests they really used up. So I don't think it's too bad.
Don't get me started on Magic Kingdom. I wasn't here last week.
Oh, you missed the conversation about the riverboat. John.
There's probably a reason you weren't here last week.
Oh, yeah. When I listened back, I thought, oh my word,
Yeah,
that's probably a really good time not to have had a rant last week, because
absolutely.
Don't get me started on that. That's it.
But this goes quite well in time with sort of Rock and Roller Coaster, which is now going to be staying open as Rock and Roller Coaster all for the rest of the year. And in 2026, it will be changing to the Muppets overlay at the Rock and Roller Coaster, which I'm quite interested to see what they do.
You know, I prefer Muppets on Rock and Roller Coaster than I do to Muppets Vision 3D. So
it'll be over in a blur. It'll be just like you watch wearing those 3D glasses.
Yeah.
I think it then lends itself as well, and I'll make a note on my little post-it note. If the Muppets do the musical overlay, we could have a whole host of different songs sung by the Muppets.
Well, the Muppets.
Rather than having to listen to Aerosmith every time we went on it.
I think the Muppets from the Muppet movie would be awesome.
Also, the Muppets have covered a lot of other songs. Does anyone remember the Bohemian Rhapsody version?
Yes. They would be great. Queen sung by the Muppets on the Rock and Roller Coaster. I mean, it doesn't really get better than that, does it?
Yeah.
That's the pinnacle.
I think that's another show. We could come up with different song ideas for what the Muppets should.
That's a good show. I'm just going to say hello to Wendy. Nice to see you. Glad you made it. We are really happy that you're here. And Dolly, all the way from Nebraska.
Yeah.
Wow. I think you might be our first Nebraskan friend.
You are.
Friend, I think.
Friend.
Yeah. Welcome in.
That's cool.
Right, more news. Ben's written in here. Tent-shaped A-frame waterfront cabin installation underway at Disney Lakeshore Lodge.
Yep.
I don't know what that means because I've missed that bit.
Basically, there's a bit of construction. The entrance, the lobby.
Oh, what
was Reflections?
Right.
It's now Lakeshore Lodge.
Is that the name of a song? Lakeshore? No.
I'm not
Reflections
sure.
is.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm interested. It's just more construction. That resort is moving along quite rapidly.
But there are walls down.
Yes.
There are walls removal, people.
That needs like a big trumpet salute.
I know.
The thing is, we were only talking about last week, like, test track is like, okay, people can see the sign now. It's there.
Now they can see the sign.
Now you can see it.
Test track is opening, and we haven't got a date yet, but the walls are down. It looks beautiful.
Yeah,
it looks really good. I like that sign.
I'm guessing previews will start towards the end of July.
Yeah.
Ben set his flag in sand.
It might even be earlier than that.
I think 4th of July. I think 4th of July weekend. You know, that period will be
for testing or for opening.
For testing.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be
previews because
preview testing 4th of July.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
Just
a quick mention about Dolly in the chat. Now this is where
I know.
Talk about making an entrance into the show. Now this is actually it was just, for those on the podcast. Dolly was actually at the final Muppet Vision show, and it was electric. The guy behind me cried his eyes out when it finished. It wasn't.
You're gonna read the whole comment.
Yeah, and it's just like to have someone in the chat who was there. I love that. I think that's brilliant.
I saw so much on TikTok and so
shows why we do
on
it.
YouTube with people who are there on that last showing.
Yeah, and Jim Henson's daughter was the last person to go in.
Beautiful.
I love that. I love that.
Whether that was planned or not, that was.
It was completely planned.
I'm sure it was.
That was a great moment.
Yeah.
Speaking of great moments, because actually this time last year,
right,
we were missing parts of our family because they were across starting the Disney College program for the summer. So Morgan Josh completed last year. There's lots of people that we've got to kind of find out about in the course of the last 12 months who are going this year. So they've just flown out.
They're in. They'll be introduced tomorrow.
They're in at Flamingo Crossing, and yeah, it's just like it's like that whole cycle starting all over again. Which also is a good plug for our mid-month show, which is coming up on the 15th, which I think was it Sunday? I think
it is Sunday.
Yeah, there you go. That's pretty good.
Perfect timing, actually.
And that's all about moving into Flamingo Crossing. Now, I listened to this through the other night from start to finish with the intention of maybe just putting a few little editorial notes of maybe what they can maybe improve on, and end up writing nothing, because actually I got drawn into the conversation, and it's such a lovely show just to listen to, and have three people with Josh, Morgan, Naya, just sharing that experience of going into Flamingo Crossing for the first time, and again being really honest about it. Yeah, there was times they missed home, but actually they got themselves through as a group. They actually came together, and it's a really, really good listen. It took me back exactly a year, and it really was. It was quite something. And if you're a parent and your child's away, have a little listen, have a little cry while you're aware that they are 5 hours behind you, and sometimes you are actually in that little window yourself where you're staying up late so that when they finish a shift they can phone you at 2 a.m. just to touch
You don't miss the time difference.
No. But good luck to everyone starting college program this week. It's exciting time, and we'll all come and see you, come and find you.
Yes,
definitely. Right.
So today's show, let's face it, even in the most magical place on earth, sometimes dinner can be a bit of a disaster. The proviso, I'm just going to disclaimer.
We're going against our usual positivity here.
A disclaimer: these opinions are all our own, and views on food are very subjective. So please don't be offended if we badmouth your favourite place. Chef Mickey's.
Sorry, Sean.
Sean's
not
here. No, I'll tell you a story about Sean later.
We'll go with that.
But I think in the research for today's show that there are a few places that routinely come out as perhaps not being, I'm going to say, worth the hype or worth the money. So I think that's probably what we're going to touch on today. Diz our dream, nice to see you. You live right by Flamingo Crossings. See, I would never. I would be at Hash How to Go every day if that was me. I love
Doesn't sound a bad idea.
But let's go through our list. So the first place on my list, which was perhaps somewhere that doesn't quite live up to the expectations now, I would say that previously it might have done, would be Our Guest.
Yes.
Infamous bog, as it's also known. So when it opened, right, it was the hardest ADR to get. It was ridiculous. People were losing their minds about not being able to get in.
Especially at the time, you had to book 6 months in advance.
And people were like, my holiday's ruined because I can't get there. People were having a real strop about it. Now you can get an ADR pretty much the day before. It's not a problem. So it is, do they still do breakfast?
No,
they don't.
They do lunch,
but the lunch and the dinner are both. They're the same now. It used to be a quick service breakfast or a sit down and they bring it to you breakfast. But quick service lunch was 1 credit and dinner was 2 credits if you're on the dining.
No, it was
quick service.
Was it?
Yeah, it was one of the best value quick service uses of
you're right.
Dining credit on the
and then
if you're on the dining.
But now is it 2 credits for lunch and dinner? Or is it 1?
I think it's 1 for lunch and maybe 2 for dinner. But because it's a prefix menu, the cost of it is so high for what I think the value you get on it compared to what you had before.
So it's over $70 per person.
Yep.
And there are good things about it, I guess. So like theming is amazing when you're inside that castle. you've got the West Wing, you've got the garden room, you've got the ballroom. It is at a library. It is beautiful inside. So if you've never been in, it's worth going for dinner. And this is the thing. It's nice to go and visit it. I wish you could go and have a look inside without having to eat there.
It's very loud.
Yeah.
When you go for dinner, if you're in the ballroom, we did dinner at the ballroom.
And the tables are really close together, is what I remember.
It's really crowded. Tables are really close together, and it's really
on
loud.
Someone's lap. And, the grey stuff that everybody talks about, it's Oreo mousse. It's not anything special.
It's nice, but it's you go there because you can have the chance to get it.
I don't know if you still can, but you used to be able to get a grey stuff cupcake at Gaston's.
You still can.
Oh, okay. If you're desperate to try it.
If you're desperate, it's a bit cheaper.
Yeah.
And then, I think it, apart from the tables being really close together, it can feel pretty rushed. And I think maybe it's a British thing. I feel fairly rushed in many table service restaurants in America.
Yeah.
I know that there's a capacity to try and get people through. So it seemed to be, push you in and out within an hour, which is not how I would choose to have a nice sit-down meal, and certainly not a meal that's costing me $70 plus. So I don't know if that's standard in terms of dining in the US. Maybe American friends tell us, is that normal? That you would be in and out of a meal in an hour?
I think it's
fine. There's a Disney,
especially at a higher class restaurant as well.
Yeah. If you actually, some of these places, Claire, if you look at whoever's the restaurant manager is, and they have like the little iPad tablet type thing, and it actually, what it does, it times. And it was interesting because I started talking to someone because I'm a bit nosy like that, But they try to make sure that they put it down the line of, we try to ensure that our guests are served within a certain time.
Okay.
So obviously there's that part of it, but also there is that bit that they want that table to be turned around within 60 minutes, and that for me kind of was a fascinating little insight as to how they set up. And
it's
in
a huge place.
Yeah, in that restaurant in particular, though, and I think you've mentioned this already. I was just trying to see if I could find some information from a previous trip that when we were there. They've really they've sold their soul really for basically for just chucking what used to be an absolutely brilliant standard of food. They've kind of downgraded on that to just kind of normal kind of theme park sort of fare. And I just don't get it, because actually, like you said, it was one of the greatest dining reservations to actually make sure that you had for your holiday. And it was everyone had that same sense when you were sat down and you were like, yes, this is great. We've done this. Even the wine was superb as well. When we first went, the wine was worth it.
They used to bring the trolley over with the dessert.
Just really everything was on point. And somewhere along the line, someone sort of lost the plot a little bit.
It was it happened during the time, I think, of COVID, where restaurants came back and it was easy to offer a prefix menu. Well, I came back for lunch and dinner, and prefix menus just appeared pretty much everywhere.
Probably
there is a bit of a theme
in the kitchen down.
And I think there's a bit of a theme tonight on the prefix menus, because there's a couple of other places that have them that I think are overrated, overpriced.
Yep.
So we'll come back to that moment.
And I'm just looking at the menu, but for lunch it's like $72 per adult plus tax and gratuity, $43 for a child. And appetizers include potato and leek soup, a mixed green salad, French onion soup, escargot.
Anything that's already heated up in the kitchen. And that's the thing that annoys me in some of these places, that you sit down, you get the bread thrown at you, you order, and your starter, your appetizer is there within like 3 minutes. So that is just on a constant conveyor belt in the kitchen. Yeah. And hopefully that means it's fresh, but it could just mean they've bunged it in the microwave. Could be either.
The desserts you get is a dessert trio. So it's a small chocolate tart, dark chocolate truffle with orange cognac brandy ganache, and a lemon jam macaron. Where is the grey stuff?
There is no grey stuff on that menu.
I wonder if they bring it to you as a little extra.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's in. I wonder whether it's only exclusive from the dinner menu, or is it?
Maybe
That's the same price, same desserts. So they've cut back on that theming yet again.
Yeah.
So it's one of those that we've been to before. We'd love to go for an anniversary meal.
Not since they've done the prefix.
Not
to be fair.
Yeah,
No.
we've not been back since.
And the Beast, is he still there?
Yeah, he's still there.
He wanders around. I don't think you can actually do a proper meet and greet with him.
So I remember when we had dinner there. I've done dinner there once. I did breakfast there. I've never did lunch. And the Beast was a decent meet and greet. He was by the fireplace, and he had a dance. He had a dance with everyone that went to meet him. He was adorable and super.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a big character.
Yeah,
he is huge, and I remember,
and almost worth the price.
Maybe
considering you can't meet him anywhere else.
Beast, and
you know, if he's just a walk through, like he's on his way to the loo or something, that's not great.
That's a lovely way to describe it.
Yeah, he's making a beeline. It's like he's in Weatherspoons trying to get to the bathrooms.
And it's one of those things. It's a difficult one because you spend a lot of money to do a character meal, and I know that I think they may have changed it, but I think he is meeting again, but it's a different time, and it's not much to just pay extra for one character. At least with a lot of other character meals on property, you're meeting the Fab Five, you're meeting a few more princesses. It's not just a single character meet.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my first pick of places that I think are.
I think that's a good call, that Claire. I think it's a really good
Who's going to go next? Ben, where do you fancy?
I'm going to go. It's on your list, but Ogre's Cantina.
Yeah. Now I know people that love Ogres and rate it, and they go there every time.
Yeah, I think it was really good, but the problem is it's lack of space. So you're not sure whether you're going to go there. Are you going to be seated at the bar, or do you get a booth?
Seated.
Well, not seated, standing at the bar. Standing at the bar. But it's one of those things. And like we said before, you're time limited. So you've only got a short amount of time. And it's when you're looking at the drinks menu, it's like, I'm not sure what to get. And you end up trying drinks that you probably wouldn't because you don't understand what's in them or what they are.
They're expensive drinks as well. They're not cheap cocktails. Even the mocktails aren't cheap. I think the mocktails are appallingly overpriced.
I do feel it is a place that you need to try at least once. Especially if you're a Star Wars fan. It's something you need to try once, and you need to base it on your own experience. Because for us, we thought about going back, but I'm not desperate to. If I want to use the opportunity of being in Hollywood Studios really late, I might book a late reservation and then spend that time there. But I don't know. It's a difficult one.
So I think. I think
I think this is Robin's comment. I will always send drinks back if I don't like them. To me, that doesn't feel
British.
Yeah.
I think you have to do it after the first mouthful. Don't you can drink 2/3 of it and then say
Sluggo. No, didn't like that.
Yeah.
I think we've been to Ogres 3 times, and that's probably 2 times too many for me. I like seeing DJ Rex. That was fun. I like all the stuff inside. The set of it is brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm not a massive Star Wars fan, so I take it on face value for what it is. What I can't get past is the price, the volume in there. And that sounds super old. It's like it's really loud in there, and it's fun.
Yeah.
But if the fact that you are standing and there is no seating unless you're in a booth, and that tends to be for parties of 8 or more.
Yeah.
You can't have a conversation. Not that you're going in there for a conversation, but you might want to have a discussion about what you're going to order to drink. And you can't hear each other. You can't read the menu because it's
dark.
I'm not making it sound great. It is a really cool place. So if you are a Star Wars fan, absolutely go and experience it. But
it is heavily themed. But
it's brilliant in terms of theme. But I cannot get past $22 for a drink.
Yeah.
Unless it's, really high-end spirits or an amazing bottle of wine or something, I don't see the value.
Yeah.
Did you go last year, John?
Yeah.
Did you get in there?
But we didn't drink.
Okay.
And we actually spoke to cast members, said, look, we're driving, but I really want to go in. And they were very accommodating. They did then did try to say, do you want a drink? And we said, no, we just came in to look and and they were great. And I'm pretty sure if they got overly busy, they wouldn't allow you to go in. But they did find us a little area to stand where we could actually just go and basically just soak up the atmosphere.
That's good.
And I like that. I thought that was quite tidy. But again, I couldn't bring myself to pay that much for a drink.
And I feel like there needs to be a few more food options on there.
Yeah.
If it's as a bit of a lounge.
You only got 45 minutes. They haven't got time to do anything more than they already have.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I think it, again, much like Be Our Guest, this was a hot ADR. You could not get a booking for love nor money. People were, setting their alarm at stupid time in the morning to get up and make a Ogre's Cantina reservation.
Yep.
And now you can get them same day. You can get them the day before. It is not a problem to get. You can get all cups. It isn't an issue. So you don't need to go to that length of stress to try and get something. Okay, John, what's on your list?
I'm not sure whether I'm trying to decide whether to go controversial or just keep it nice and I could keep it nice and simple. I'm going to go
now, John.
Yeah, okay, right. So I'm going to put it out there that the California Grill at Contemporary is basically another place that's resting on its laurels and its reputation from the past. I just don't see, and we've been there about 3 times, and each time, gradually, we've had a worse experience, and that's really the first 2 times we went. We had the same server, and he remembered us from the previous time, which probably was I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing.
It's like in school when names are remembered of children.
Yeah,
wrong reasons.
Yeah, it was a bit like that. But it's just got to the stage now where you look at the menu, and this again, and I've spoken about this on a previous show that this is why we probably don't pre-book an awful lot, because it just depends on how I feel at a particular time as to what I can actually manage to eat. But it tends to be a lot of really fussy food that it doesn't seem to fit, and then when it arrives at your table, there's not an awful lot of it, and you're in that position where you're like, right, okay, that's average. That's the only way.
And it's one of those things, having a prefix menu, if you don't want a starter, and then it's like, well, that's the cost, and it's like, if there's nothing on there that you fancy for a starter but you want the main dessert, it's difficult if you go to a place you have it a la carte, then you can pick and choose as you want. We did California Grill, when was it, 2018?
I was going to say.
Yeah.
I should remember.
Yeah, 2018 for our wedding anniversary. And it was incredible. We absolutely loved it. But then when we look back and going into 2021, it was the 50th anniversary. So they had the a special sort of prefix to that. And I didn't want anything on the menu. The price was astronomical for what it was before.
Well, just now, the prefix menu is actually there. It's $89.
I've just looked that up. That's what I was just doing.
$89. And I'm like,
you can get a wine pairing for $72 on top of that.
Hey, I tell you what, you can get an awful lot of wine at the Publix for that price, I tell you.
And if you want to go for the Wagyu strip loin, that's an additional surcharge of $47.
Yeah. I think when we first went there, it was about $45 per adult, and I thought that was about fair. And there was actually quite a real balance to the menu.
Yeah. They had like the sushi, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then they had that good, their balance in the.
Yeah, I don't do sushi, so
no, neither do I. But I remember that's why we didn't go for many years.
It's It's somewhere
they
that
kind of
you go for.
They've lost it somewhere.
Yeah. I don't know what they can do to try and get people to come back. And I know obviously
Get rid of the prefix menu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I found it a bit of a weird place. So we've done it once, and for me, it was a once and done. It was the 50th anniversary prefix menu that we went to. It must have been 2022. I think we did it. Did that work? 2021? Can't remember. It would have been 22 because it was the end of that year. And it's the first time I've been to California. I was so excited because everyone had said how amazing it was.
Yeah.
And I was utterly disappointed. Yeah. The service wasn't great. The food was fine. Definitely not worth the money.
Yeah.
And going out and watching the fireworks on the balcony, I felt like I was, we needed to put a harness and high vis on. It's kind of a weird. It was the most amazing thing, and I was just like, "Oh my life! This is like I feel like I'm trying to walk across the top of the O2 or something." It was ridiculous, and I don't know that for me it was an experience that I would ever rush to do again. We have definitely put it at the bottom of our list of any signatures that we might consider again.
Yeah.
It's just not for me. And I know people talk about going to the lounge bit at the other end of the restaurant. That when you come up and you come out the lift on the left hand side, there's like a bar area and you can sit there and have a drink. Like a lot of them you can, particularly the signature restaurants. I don't think I've even bothered with that, to be honest with you. I found the decor to be a bit, contemporary decor is a bit weird anyway, but it's just not my bag. I thought the food was disappointing. The service was definitely disappointing. The price was unbelievably astronomical.
Originally, we hadn't booked dinner. We had booked brunch, or we had planned to book brunch before they stopped it about a month before our trip.
Oh, wow.
And that was something they were doing every Saturday and Sunday, and it looked really good value. And it was just like
hard to get a booking
hard
for.
To get,
very hard to get a booking for. And we managed to get dinner after that was cancelled. But it was just one of those, like, I'm glad we did it, and we had a really good time. It was really memorable.
We had a good serve and the food was good back then.
Yeah.
God, that makes me sound really old.
But I don't like...
Back in the day when food
But it's one of those things you just, I have fond memories of that trip. Of that meant, and I don't want to go back there because I know it's probably not going to live up to it.
Yeah, don't want to ruin that experience, that good experience that we did have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that goes with a lot of things we're going to talk about tonight, because there are so many restaurants that actually I will give another go to if we've had bad service or bad food.
So that's the thing, isn't it? Where would you add to, just to be a little bit more positive for a moment, where are you adding to your list this summer that you've avoided for a while, but you're now thinking because of the reports about it, you might go back to? We had a really serious conversation about Tony's Town Square the other day at home about, do we book? Starlight will have started. And do you book an ADR and sit on the balcony at the terrace outside of Tony's when the parade's coming past? Now that you have a glass of wine, you can have some garlic bread, and
they had a bit of a menu change. Was it last year? And was it those garlic?
Everyone says it's really good. We might need.
Robin says it's amazing. She keeps going back, and now I'm just like, do we give? Because I went to Tony's and it was it was awful.
We had the same.
But that was probably back in 20. Oh wow, might be
2018,
2015 maybe. It must be 10 years ago, and I had chicken parm, and it was truly appalling. And it did taste like the tomato sauce had just come straight out of a tin, and it was not good.
We went there to celebrate buying annual passes, and it was the nearest restaurants where we upgraded our tickets. And we were hungry, so we were just outside Magic Kingdom. And was like, let's go here. It's like, where can we get a reservation?
Where can we get a reservation? Oh, Tony's has got one. We've never been there before. Yeah, there's a reason there was a reservation available.
But I'm tempted to give it another go.
Yeah, I am.
Based
I've heard
on
really good things
reports from people.
I would, and I know people will be shocked about this, I'm going to mention Boathouse. We've had a few, at least one experience, maybe a second, that wasn't the best, but I will definitely make sure that I go back. It's one that we've had steak not cooked the way that.
It's the only restaurant I've ever sent food back at.
Yeah.
Oh, really? You're not trying hard enough.
Or our just bar is set so low on like, it'll do.
Bar's not a foodie, so.
But yeah, that's one that will always pop up again because I think the food there is usually very good.
So I'm going to say one that Claire's going to be a bit shocked at.
Go on.
Skipper's Canteen.
What, you think it's...
No, as in, tried it once, was a little bit disappointed, but going to try it again.
Yeah, it's on this year's.
It's on this year's list. Because I don't know why I was disappointed with it. I just was. I couldn't quite work out the why.
So
I'm wondering if I was just feeling a little bit overhyped. So we're going to try it again. It's been a few years.
The experience is variable there. I think the food has been consistently good for me. I've never had a bad meal. The Skipper experience, I have had completely a bit like, I guess, 50s prime time and somewhere like that. You get some cast members who are not sure quite how to interact, so go on the less is more kind of element. And then there are cast members who are 100% into it, making all the effort, makes your meal amazing. Yeah. I've had both extremes. Yeah. I think I would always. I love the theming in there, so I want the skipper to play along with that. Tell me all your awful jokes. Tell me all the one-liners. I don't care if I've heard them before. I want to sit there and read all the things around the room. But for me, the food has always been consistently good. Never had I don't think I've even had a bad dish in there, let alone a meal.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that about the skipper, because our one was earning their ears. Okay. And it felt like it was straight off a script.
Were they being assessed? Yeah, they were probably being assessed and watched.
It was straight off a script, so it felt like a little bit awkward for us.
A little bit forced.
Yeah.
So that's
a service was really good.
Yeah.
And
Don't give it another go.
Is the secret menu still there?
Oh.
The not so secret menu.
That's the one. Yeah. The cheese bread. Definitely still there. Yeah. And you can mix things up in that menu, so you can adapt things. So if you want to have the tofu on noodles, they'll do that for you. And they'll alter things. And I think that's a good thing about all the menus is, if there's something you want but you can't eat something, or you don't want to eat something, they will mix it up for you.
Oh, nice.
John, is there anywhere that you have had a...
Now this is a slightly different way of looking at this. Now, there's one place that we always used to make a dining reservation for, and then consistently it got to the day before.
Chef de France?
Yeah. And we kept cancelling.
Should we all go together? Because we've done that.
Well, yeah, but we've actually been twice prior to 2019. But we got always done it. And then when we actually went and experienced it, it was superb. And again, just for the show tonight, I'm just looking at the menu and I'm thinking, do you know something? There's so much on that menu that I can eat, which is a good thing. Yeah. But actually, it's not that expensive when you think about what else you pay for table service. I was going to suggest Le Cellier, but I'm not quite ready for that, I don't think, just yet. But Chef de France, we had great service and just the most amazing experience on both occasions when we went there. And
presumably you weren't rushed either.
No,
because
it was
French.
No, it was French.
3 hours. That's
as
fine.
Long as you want. As long
have
as you
some
want.
More wine. Different service style.
I think the second time we went, we actually got sat in the little greenhouse bit that leads up to the rest of the French pavilion. So it was a beautiful place to just sit and people watch.
Brilliant.
Whilst you were dining. And then the second time we were in the main restaurant area, and I'm thinking, it's not going to be quite as good, but actually it was. And actually the atmosphere within the main restaurant was really good as well. I'm like, I really regret not doing this place more often. And actually I give it a little bit of love, even for the fact that you can choose from a menu. Even if you go for the macaroni cheese as your entree, it's only $28. So you're not paying an absolute load of money if you are, again, if you're a little bit like me, you're stuck for things to eat. The French onion soup is something to absolutely behold, which again, I think it's just
one. They do a prefix meal, so you can have one appetizer, a selected entree, and dessert, and the choice of 1 glass of Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Wow, and wine, non-alcoholic beverage, discount, so not accepted and not included in the dining plan. That's for $68.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Okay.
Which I think is, I think that's pretty fair, because actually, and if you do want, I think we've talked about this before we started the show. I think the old-fashioned way of doing the dining plan was the fact that everyone always went, you said, most expensive one, we're having that, get full value.
Always have the same.
Yeah. But, I just think now, if you're paying out of pocket, this actually seems to be a really doable place to actually go and actually have something that I actually feel that is, I think it's a little bit of a hidden gem, and one that doesn't get enough love when you're looking for those dining reservations. So there you go.
Well,
that was mine.
I'm going to propose, since we're all there at the same time. And Chef de France is one of those places that we have had, I reckon we probably booked it maybe 10 times and cancelled it every single time.
I remember booking it because it was tradition to book it. I remember when we booked into COVID. It was one of those like, do you know what? If this trip's going to go ahead, let's book it. Because how many times through all the cancelled trips, it was like, I'm booking it just because every time I've booked it before, we've gone on holiday.
Oh, yeah. So we probably booked it and cancelled it at least 10 times.
Yeah.
Becca, you've done the same. John, you've been twice, but you're happy to give it another go.
Well, we cancelled it so many times before that, Claire.
Right. So let's do it.
Just for comparison's sake, and again, I know that my dining sort of choices are very limited. I'm looking at list of entrees and comparing it to Be Our Guest. Now, the one at Be Our Guest, there's very little on there that I would choose to eat or could physically eat. And from the list of entrees at Chef de France, there's at least 6 things that I actually think I could eat all of them. And actually, I would actually, I think that might actually be a thing for the whole of the summer, because I always get told off for not eating healthily.
In August, Chef de France, currently a table for 7. If anyone else is there and wants to join us, let us know.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's all go, and then we break that cycle of
that would be cool. Yeah, that would be really good.
Where else do we think is overrated? Who didn't have a go? Who didn't say?
Becca.
Go on, Becca. Where are you saying we should avoid or has been disastrous? A dining disaster, darling.
I've got 2 in my head.
We'll go for one, and then we'll see if we can guess it.
And I'm going to say Cosmic Rays.
Oh God, I can't even imagine that got to I didn't even make it on my list. It wasn't even up for discussion.
Yep. I know there are some people that love it.
Down my list, it's unbelievable.
I know there are some people that love it, but
really? Not met them.
Well, it seems to have people in it whenever I go
home. There for the air conditioning. That's my guess.
So I'm going to ask people to name and shame themselves. If you like Cosmic Rays, let us know, whether that be in the chat now or if you're listening to the show on a catch-up. Let us know in the Waffler's Arms. Is Cosmic Rays somewhere that you love to visit? Oh, God.
If you're listening on the podcast in the car, make it known to the rest of the family that you love or you hate Cosmic Rays.
I'm just thinking about I know they don't have the fixings bar anymore, but the amount of debris and fingers in the fixings bar that I saw.
You see lettuce fly everywhere.
Right. And it's just, it's filthy dirty around there. And then trying to fight for a seat. It's just all coming. I feel like I might need to go have a lie down in a minute. If you need to use the restroom, just don't.
Go and have a wash. That's it.
Truly awful. The only good thing I remember about Cosmic Rays, it was just the one and only time I've been in there. We were on the dining plan, and I think it was our second to last day. It might have been our last day in Magic Kingdom, and we had loads of snack. We had loads of quick service credits left. We probably had, I think, at that point in the trip, because it was the old dining plan, and you could mix, you could change a quick service meal for 3 snacks, and we'd done all festival booze and stuff. And I was in the line at Cosmic Rays buying us food. and we probably had maybe 6 or 7 quick service credits left. And I bought lunch for the family of 4 behind us because
lovely.
I was just like, I am not going home and not using these. And the people behind us, I was like, please don't be offended. I won't worry if you say no, but I've got all these quick service credits. I bought our lunch. Can I buy your lunch for you? And they were just like, oh my God, they were a lovely American family. And they just, do you know what? You've made our day. That was the best thing that happened to me in Cosmic Rays, that I bought someone's lunch for them, because the food was awful. Yeah. That's not the word I want to use.
They got my food wrong. I mean, how you can get a burger wrong, I don't quite know. It's pulled pork burger.
Hannah says she likes the burgers in Cosmic Rays in the chat.
Well,
are you okay?
I'm just looking at the entrees. So triple B burger and a grilled chicken sandwich. But the thing that sticks out with me is the barbecue sauce. It's a Coca-Cola cherry barbecue sauce.
No, do you know what? Cherry Coca-Cola sauce. You can do a great stir fry with that. I'll give you a recipe. That's not a bad thing.
No, but I was like, that's something different that I've not seen on the menu at Disney before. It's the normal stuff, chicken strips.
The only time I go in Cosmic Rays now is on Halloween party night, and they have the trick-or-treating station in there.
Yeah. Same with the Christmas party, where you can pick up.
Literally the only time I go there. I can't bear it.
Yeah.
Oh, I do think we picked up some fries there the last time we were in Magic Kingdom.
I bet they were cold.
Place, and
I bet they were cold and soggy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
and you waited
you know that bit where you're so hungry. It was like our mobile order, what's available. I'm just anything but there. But it's. What your other one was?
Yeah, what was your other one? If that was the better of the two.
I didn't know it wasn't the better of the two. It was the worst of the two.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
The other one was Regal Eagle.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah, I just think it's
that is contentious because
I love
people
Regal
do. You love it.
Regal Eagle.
The theming's great. The theming I quite like, and it's better than what was there before.
The food's incredible.
Yeah,
but the food. Every time I go in there, I just leave feeling hungry, and for the price you pay, it's not a cheap quick service restaurant. It's very quite expensive.
So I've never eaten.
We've done it twice.
And I just find that I'm always hungry when I leave, and I don't want to be hungry when I'm spending nearly 30 quid on a burger.
It's not a cheap.
And it's not even a proper
quick
burger.
service.
Okay. Yeah. I've never eaten it.
No.
It's 2 pieces of
toasted
brioche bread with pulled pork inside or a burger patty inside. It's not a proper burger.
I've seen people with trays of pulled pork and then piece of chicken, and they look huge. Those things.
I know what it is. You don't do finger food, so
I don't want to be messy. It's messy food.
That's
okay. Right, so Becca wants silverware with her quick service.
Yes, please.
So Connections Eatery,
a decent knife and fork.
Connections Eatery is the
yes. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I haven't eaten. I haven't eaten in Regal Eagle. I went inside last year for the first time. I'd not even been inside it. And I thought the theming was really cool. There's plenty of seating. Yeah. I thought the menu is good. There's a lot on that menu that people can choose from. And I've only ever heard people say they liked it. So I'm quite surprised that you put that on the list, Becca. But, this is a personal opinion. We said that at the beginning of the show.
I'm not a fan.
Okay. What time is it? It's 24 minutes past 9. We could do some quick fire ones.
Yep. Okay, I was just going to say. Kate, I was going to say just. Go on, Claire.
Go on. What are you going to say?
Kate made cafe.
Oh, shut up.
No, seriously. And this was not about the food. This was not about the food. This was about the service. We had to a point where we were. You check in the desk as normal.
For breakfast?
For breakfast. Yeah. This was a later breakfast. So what happened was we went there and the cast member just looked at us and we just said our names. And just slammed stuff down, our menus down on the table. And that was the attitude we got.
Oh no.
And within a minute, I thought we'll sit down, see what happened. Another cast member who was actually our server, who was serving us.
She was all right.
She was perfectly fine. And I said, if that other manager, because she was a manager, comes back, I need to have a word with her. Because it was not. It was not
I
great.
bet she didn't come back.
She didn't come back.
No, I bet she didn't.
She wasn't there on the way out either. So.
Having a bad day. I mean, I think it's perfectly reasonable to call it out if someone is.
I have to admit, I was absolutely tired. So to be perfectly honest, I didn't want the hassle of it. And to be honest,
you don't eat much when you're tired. So no, you can eat buffet. It's probably not the best place.
But I like the food. The food was good. The server we had was good. It would be a place that I would go back. But it wasn't needed.
Do you know what?
It's a really good place to go for character interaction in particular.
I was like, what?
Because we had no characters.
This was during COVID, no characters.
No characters.
Go back again. Give it another go. Yeah. That would be on my list of telling you to go and give it another go, because actually those characters at breakfast, they are so much fun, and it is on our list to go. We're staying at the beach club for a few days, and Millie's day, she was like, I want a beach club day, I want to go to Cape May Cafe, I want to hang out by the pool, I'm just want to go to beaches and cream at lunchtime. I'm just like, good, sounds awesome.
That's brilliant.
Hope you're paying for it, Mills.
It's actually a really good place for evening meal as well. I would say that if you like seafood, it's a beautiful place for evening.
I want to add it to our list. I think
we can have another look.
I heard from Morgan and Josh that the cast members who are friends with the characters at Cape May Cafe enjoy working at that restaurant. Yeah. They really enjoy it, and I think that the atmosphere in there is fun. We've had non-stop excitement from all of it. I do rate it, and I think it's good value. It's cheap, one of the cheaper character dining breakfasts that you can get. And if you're going to go to Hollywood Studios or Epcot, what better place to start your day?
Yeah,
I think so.
So
you're not alone. Simon had the same opinion.
Yeah, there you go.
I know. I think that's the thing, is if we'd gone there and we didn't have a manager, bad starts to the meal, I think it wouldn't make the list.
And I think there is something about calling out behaviour or experience that isn't Disney acceptable. And I know that I've talked previously about my very poor experience at Yak and Yeti counter service, Yak and Yeti local food cafe, from the server who was taking our order, and how rude she was to us, and really appalling, to the point where I wasn't just irritated, I was super angry. Her behaviour was really unacceptable. And I don't care how bad your day is, if you're having spoken to Morgan Josh, you turn it on. You're there. You're giving the guests a magical experience. That's the entire purpose of the cast members being there. So when I went to the counter and I said can I speak to the coordinator? And she came over. She was busy. She really didn't care very much. And I said, this was my experience. This was poor experience for me. This is not what I expect. This is, for my first experience. If I was my first day as a guest here in Manimal Kingdom, that was my experience. That would not be acceptable. Yeah. The fact that I've been here many, many times, it's still not acceptable. Is the food okay? Yeah, it's fine. But that cast member, that's not what I expect. And she was just like, oh, yeah, well, I'll have a word with her. And there was no way she was going to have a word with her, which is why I ended up going to guest services on my way out. I left it, went to guest services on the way out the park. And I wasn't going to go in and say, oh, we paid for this meal and it was a bad experience. I wasn't trying to get anything for free. Yeah. I just went back and said, this was a less than magical experience for me, and it is not acceptable. And if your staff need training, then you need to deal with it. Having known what Josh had been through all summer, that was, for me, it was like characteristic of Animal Kingdom food and beverage. This is not okay.
Absolutely. So, I think as well, Claire, and I think anyone who's listening to this or watching this, I think I would urge you, if you have an experience like that, just do make a point.
Yeah. I'll speak to the coordinator.
And if you don't get the answer you want, go to guest services on the way out. Be very factual. Don't be one of these people like they are in the newspapers that that doing it for so much compensation.
Don't video yourself. This is not what it's for.
No. Do it for making the point. Be very polite to guest services. Say why you feel so disappointed, or why you feel so cross about the experience, and then be prepared to walk out. Don't go. You don't go in for it. You just want it to be better for other people.
That's exactly that.
That's a key part to it.
If no one ever gives them feedback, whether that be positive or negative, nothing's going to change. And that's the approach that I took. Was like, I was the only person who knew about that interaction because there was nobody in the line behind me. No one else saw it. I did speak to the coordinator. I'm not confident they were going to do anything. If I don't come and give you this feedback, nothing will change with that cast member. Maybe nothing will change there anyway, but if I don't come and give that opportunity to share my experience, how will you ever know where things need to improve? So that's the approach I always go. If I'm going to complain about something, I always say, this is really uncomfortable for me, but if I don't tell you, you can't do anything about it. Don't go away and complain about it afterwards, write, whinging reports, go onto TikTok and say how awful it was. Don't do that. Just give the feedback there and then, and they might even sort it out for you, and you'll have a better meal or a better experience afterwards. It's
like if we hadn't sent our steaks back at Boathouse, we'd have just sat there and eaten steaks we weren't happy.
And then you'd have moaned about it, and you'd have told all your friends, "Oh, we had rubbish steaks at the Boathouse. It was a bit." They don't want that either. People, if you don't give the feedback, they can't do anything about it.
I've just had a big flashback to going into Epcot guest services on the way out one time. And it wasn't to do with food; it was to do with character meet and greets. And I actually had to leave the kids outside because actually they hadn't.
I went on my own as well.
They hadn't experienced what I'd experienced, and it was one of them moments where, if you had kids that were not quite as caught up in the magic would have actually been obliterated for them. And I feel really strongly about that. I'm always one that we never take the kids, even in Magic Kingdom, don't go and see Mickey when the parade's on, because actually Mickey will be on the parade, right? He's on the parade, so he won't be doing a meet and greet and things like that. And you've got to be very, very careful. And on one particular day, they weren't being very careful in Epcot, and I felt really uncomfortable with it. And we came out through the meet and greet and just thought, no, I need to go and share this. I need to share this. And so I just went to guest services and I just caught somebody. I said, look, I might be in the wrong, but what I've just experienced is not what I would expect from Disney. And they took it on board. I didn't get any fast passes. I didn't get anything like that for it. I didn't want anything. I just didn't want another family to have that experience and have that little element of doubt planted in the kids' heads.
I think interestingly, I know we're talking about food, but I think sometimes meet and greets is an area it's quite difficult to, or character interactions. It's quite difficult to give feedback around those because you sort of go in and you see them and then you leave and everyone, photos. We actually made a deliberate point of going and speaking to guest services when Morgan and I were there in April, because we had an unexpectedly brilliant experience, and it was not something that we had. I think perhaps because we were sat in a different place. We went to Festival of the Lion King show, and whoever was friends with Timon that day was unbelievably brilliant, because Timon was interacting. We were sat in Warthogs, and Timon was interacting with the guests sat right there. Timon's a boy, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm always a little bit confused. I think maybe they are too. So they were amazing, to the point they were interacting with Pumbaa, with the other cast members who were performing, but also with the guests and their reactions to everything that was happening on the stage. Unless you'd sat where we were sat, you probably wouldn't have seen it, because it was we were on the left-hand side of Pumbaa. And so anyone around sort of 3/4 of the arena, you wouldn't have been able to see Timon's mannerisms. They were so good. So and we came out of that, and I love that show anyway for lots and lots of reasons. It's always a little bit awestruck at that, but this was amazing. And because you can't give cast compliments for first characters, and you can't in a show, and it's really difficult. So we actually made a point of going to guest services and saying, look, we don't know how you're going to do this, but can we give a compliment for Timon for that particular? It was this show, this time, this day. We thought they were incredible. So I do hope that got back to Timon, because it made our day.
You just mentioned two things there, Claire. So again, you can go guest relations and you can actually pass that good feedback on. And I would urge anybody who's watching and listening to this, do it, because actually they don't get to know any of the good stuff unless we tell them, because it's generally the people who with the biggest mouths and the most to whinge about that will complain. And actually, you also mentioned about the cash compliment part of it, which is on your My Disney Experience app.
Right, scroll to the bottom.
And find it, go to the bottom and find it out. If you have service from anybody in the park, it means the absolute world to people.
Really does.
Yeah, and it really does set apart. And it's that
they get it printed out.
Yeah, but not being critical all the time. And I think this probably balances the whole of this show. And I know we try to be as positive as we can, says the grumpy one in the corner. But if somebody's doing something right and going over and above, it's only right that you actually put that positivity back to them to tell them they're doing the right thing, because it's very easy to criticize. It's very easy for people to go on TripAdvisor and say this place was whatever. Everyone's very critical. Anyone on TikTok is critical about this, that, and the other.
Oh,
let's rise to that positivity. When someone's doing something right, let them know, because it's so important.
The cast members they do value those, actually, and I know that Morgan's got a folder with all of his cast compliments printed out, and he will keep that for every of this Disney stuff. So I think, right, let's do quick fire places that we think possibly are worth a swerve.
Oh, can I start?
Go on.
Rainforest Cafe.
Which
both
one?
Of them.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them. The one, even the
everywhere.
one
in Disneyland Paris is truly awful as well.
Yeah,
so.
and they've all got that same smell of chlorine because of the water that's in the restaurant. It's the food's poor. The atmosphere is just mental. It's just like it. It's not a nice place.
When the elephant goes off, and then to go in, okay.
And I'll chuck T-Rex into that as well.
I've never been in there.
I haven't.
But that's it.
I met somebody at Saratoga Springs a few years ago that I'd met through the dip, and we were just having a conversation. Oh, we've been at T-Rex. I said, what do you make of it? And she had really young kids at the time, and she's just like, I've still got a headache from it. It's just like, and again, it's the same thing. It's the same type of food as Rainforest Cafe. It's loud. It's in your face, and actually, there's better places to go. And it's just like, it's not a good place. Go on, Ben. Quick fire.
Crystal Palace.
Oh no, Hannah's just said that. She said the food's okay, but it's slower than a herd of.
Yeah, it's the only time that I've really complained, because we went in, I don't know, between sort of breakfast, towards the end of breakfast, and sort of
you went for Robin breakfast time.
We went for Robin
about
breakfast.
like 10:30, and I have to admit, it was like we were in there forever before we saw any characters. To be honest, we were about to leave before we saw any characters.
Yeah.
There was no food. The food was literally like, oh, we've stopped breakfast half an hour ago, so it was like, no, we're just it wasn't great. But what was worse, that we spoke to the cast member, and she got the manager. We had a discussion for quite a while, because it was the day where we had a bad experience at Grand Floridian on our anniversary, where they were like digging
the day
around.
The day off.
It was a bad day, and then it was that cast member said, "We promised to contact you this afternoon," which nothing happened. So it was just like, no,
write it off.
And I have to admit, we've been Crystal Palace 2-3 times. I'll like it.
It's very same. Like Hannah said, the food's all right. The service is generally a bit slow, and the characters are generally a bit slow to get
I know I can get better food than that at a better price anywhere else.
I think generally character breakfast, you can get better food.
I'm not sure whether I'd go Chef Mickey's though.
Oh, well, that's in a cold category of its own. Becca, where are you going for your quick fire?
Or not, chicken
that's the case, maybe. You've not been there.
It's just
chicken.
Not much chicken. they've really flattened the pieces of chicken.
Oh, so I was thinking that's all there is.
Yeah, but it's not like a proper chicken breast. It's like flattened, cut in half, and then breaded. It's just.
I'm looking forward to trying it again, because it's been a while since I've been there.
Becca's like,
This August that I'm going to a lot of places that you're not.
Yeah.
I love it.
Gosh. I am going to pick somewhere at Disney Springs, which I've been a few times, and then the last 2 times I've been, the food was poor, the service was worse, and that's House of Blues.
Oh, really?
Now, I love House of Blues. I love the theming. I always wanted to do the gospel brunch, that Southern cuisine. I love all that stuff. Last 2 times I've been, the food's been shockingly bad. We got sat in the British room at the back that overlooks the lake. You know, the one that's all the people that they don't really care about. They stick that there. Wobbly tables, poor service, incorrect order. Just not for me. I'm not going back there in any rush.
We ate there last year for the first ever time because we were going with Katie. And actually, we sat in that same room and had the completely opposite experience.
Right, and this is the thing: it's hit and miss. It's individual experience.
That's why it's fascinating to actually be able to talk about this, because I would go back there purely, but I want to be in that main dining area.
And you can ask for that. I guess that's the thing. If you don't know, you just say, "Do you know what? I'd like to sit in the main dining room." We haven't mentioned Chef Mickey's. We have to mention Chef Mickey's.
We also need to mention Cinderella's Royal Table as well. Let's balance the two out here, because I know we've spoken about Chef Mickey's repeatedly on a Wednesday night.
It's not in a good way.
But Cinderella's Royal Table, come on,
prefix menu.
They could do so much better.
The princesses are almost on roller skates. They move through the restaurant so quickly. And I just, again, overpriced, overhyped. Get a better meal and much better experience in Akashus.
Yes.
I know why people want to go, and I get it, but don't fall for it. I would fall for the hype.
That's exactly it, Claire. I would actually say there's a little bit of a lazy sort of sleight of hand.
Yeah.
And when you've got younger kids as well, in particular, it's that bit. We're going to actually eat in the castle, and it's that whole thing. And actually, you don't get even the
experience.
It isn't worth it. It's just not worth it.
It really isn't. And
Chef Mickey's. Let's just leave that there, because I think we've been another half an hour.
I don't want to eat anywhere where there's more food on the floor than there is on my plate.
with the nice smell of oil in the background from the monorail.
It does smell like it's like the whole wave your napkin around. The character interaction at Chef Mickey's isn't awful, and I like
it's entertaining to watch from the monorail.
Each other. Yeah. But every time I go past the monorail, I find it entertaining, but I also feel pity for the people that are paying for it, and I'm just like, don't do it, people.
We were once sitting having food at Contempo Cafe, and we just heard this family just saying, "What was that?" once they were leaving Chef Mickey's.
Didn't one of the parents say to their kid, "Don't worry, we can meet Mickey in the park"?
Yeah.
They just had Chef Mickey's, and you didn't meet Mickey.
Oh no!
Either that was really slow for the characters to get round,
I think that'd be
really.
I wouldn't be leaving until I met Mickey. That'd be it.
Nope.
Yeah. So I mean, there are loads of other places we haven't mentioned, and I think that one of the things that I know we talk about regularly, and I know someone in the shop, a couple of people have mentioned Casey's Corner. I agree with you entirely, but I know chefs move around, and restaurants they flux, so that sometimes they're great, and then a chef will move, or the restaurant will change the menu, and it goes downhill. And I think that that's the bit that it may not be great now, but I never take it off my list entirely. So like Chef Mickey's and places, they're there. I think about them at the moment. I'm like, absolutely no, but like Tony's, I'm tempted to give it another go. So I think that's the thing, that things do change.
And that's the thing, is it's being open to like it. I remember when you had to book ADRs, like your dining reservations, 6 months before, and by the time we actually got to there was at least 3 menu changes.
The chef's gone down the road.
So it's one of those things that luckily it's 60 days, and the thing is, you'll also we're lucky we're there for like 2 weeks, so there's plenty of time to change, and you don't have to. You can change up to 2 hours before reservations now. So
so.
Which also means you can have a look to see if there are any new ones that have popped up because people have cancelled.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And if all else fails, go somewhere off-site.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's always McDonald's.
There's always a million other places to visit off-site. Yes. Yeah. So that is us for tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone in the chat for your contributions and your views. Thank you guys for joining me and talking. We're trying to be as positive as we can, talking about I
thought we did really well.
We did. Yeah. This, obviously, if you're listening to us on the catch up on Friday, fantastic. Thank you so much for listening to us as a podcast. I quite like it as a podcast. I've been listening to it in the car when I've been driving to work, and it does work. And I'm really glad that we have that opportunity for people who are busy on a Wednesday and can't join us live. If you ever
I mention something as well, Claire, because actually Ben shared something on social media yesterday. And I couldn't quite believe this, of how many people have actually listened to us, not even as the Friday podcast, and not including YouTube views as well, but our actual core podcast material has been listened to. But was it 50,000 people? Yeah. Oh, what good grief!
I apologise.
50,000 people, and I just thought, that is such a lovely landmark. So if you listen to this on podcast version and you've been with us either for the first time or for the goodness
all
knows
the times,
all the times, I think that's the best way of talking about it. But a massive thank you, because actually, it means so much to us.
It really does. It does, and please do continue to tune in and share it with your friends so we can keep growing.
And if you're listening on the podcast, don't forget to leave a rating and review, because it really helps us come across more people.
Yeah, as long as it's a 5, not a 1.
Yes. We do love doing this, and hopefully we can keep bringing you content that we enjoy and you enjoy. If you've got an idea for a show that you'd like us to cover, please let us know.
Yeah.
And you can find us on all socials, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook at GB Mickey Waffle. Obviously our YouTube channel, Great British Mickey Waffle. Where's the QR code? There it is.
There you go, look at that.
Scan the QR code. It'll take you to us. That's
I'll tell you what, I've actually joined TikTok this week because I'm sick to death about. I just keep sending me videos that I can't.
You can't play.
That's it. You're done for.
I'm going to have to go into the world of TikTok, and it's just like
you're done for. That's it.
Yeah, Claire's going to be sending you videos all day long.
I might
end of life as you know it.
I'll need a few days off work to figure it out.
Oh, it's not hard. I'll soon take over, and you'll be buying stuff you never knew you needed.
Oh no!
Oh no!
What have you been buying on TikTok? TikTok?
Nothing recently. Yeah, the little Game Boy.
Oh right, yeah.
TikTok.
We all say that.
Yeah.
But you know what? Next time. What are we talking about next week?
The best theme park lineup. So the best rides. Which park do we think's got the best attractions?
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Excellent. Look forward to that one.
Just
do join us next.
Quick shout out. Morg joined us right at the end.
Right at the end.
It's in the other room. That's why.
Yeah, right at the very end.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Morg. We have plugged the podcast for the 15th
for Sunday.
Just to say that you and Josh's podcast with Naya.
Yeah.
In which is very good. I hasten to add.
So do listen to that on Sunday when it's released. We will see you back here next Wednesday for more of the same. And until then, I'm trying to remember what we say. See you soon.
We'll see you soon.
Complete brain blank.
We'll see you real soon.
Now my wheels in motion and my